All right, Kenman here, and we are about to complete die project number 40. Round 2, fight. Let's just get these in and then I can start talking. Welcome to the party. We have the Kubey Merced with these brown scales. I'm throwing them in. We're going to make sure I splash them around and they don't have any water air bubbles that could prevent the dye from sitting in a specific area. We want a nice even coating on them. So kind of switch them around a little bit, make sure that they're nice and soaked in the dye, and then we can let them sit. This dye has been heated up. It is a liquid RIT dye. Added a couple ounces of dye and about 24 ounces of water. We've got it heated just under boiling here. We could probably turn it down just a little bit. And we're going to let it sit in there for a few minutes and see what colors we can come up with this brown. When you dye, you can only add to the color that's already there. And you saw that it had that tan kind of brownish shade. We will not be able to get rid of that, but we will be able to add to it. I have a red in there. We're going to see what kind of reds we can get. Got a few of the knives over here that I've done before. These three were all done in red. These two were white G10 and this was jade. So the white is going to make the color pop a little bit more. You can see the jade is kind of a dull shade. These two were the same red. So that red, it's a nice kind of fire engine red on the white, and then it's kind of got this more dull because that jade kind of adds that little bit of that green to it, giving us that color there. But this is the Artisan Cutlery Arroyo, really cool knife. I like the way it looked in that red. And then of course the Civivi Vision FG, excellent in red. This is the Kubey Blood Raven, I call it now. This is a darker red. That's the red that we're actually using today. It's just got a little bit deeper shade to it, a little less orange and a little bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say purple, but it's just got that darker kind of a shade, gives it a more plum, kind of a darker red. So that's kind of what I wanted to try to do, darken it up because it's already going to be dark with the brown that exists. Been doing a lot of fades and weathering lately, like on this Concept Cryo. We did it, it was a light green and it made it kind of black and then sanded off a lot of the black to kind of leave these kind of weathered areas and kind of deterioration and stuff to give it some variety. Really happy with how that's turning out. I did the same thing with this Lieb. What's everyone think about this natural weather? You can see it's kind of a little more brown on the edges and stuff. I dig it. I think it's super fun to do. Plus it looks great. Let's take a quick look here. It's been in there for a couple of minutes. It is taking and it is getting in a shade of dark red. That's great. I was wondering how much that brown was really going to affect it. We're going for dark, so we can go ahead and not worry about it as much. Let it sit for a little bit longer. Also been doing these fade dyes, which I'm really fond of. This is the CJRB Mangrove. I wanted to kind of give it a natural since it's called the mangrove. Mangroves grow plants that grow out of water. So, you know, blue water into kind of a greenish yellow. Thought it'd be kind of a fun fitting shade for this. But the way I do these differently is this was a two-stage. So at first I did it all in yellow and then I dropped it in the blue only to there so that it wouldn't affect that. And then I have a motor that slowly pulls it out of the die so that the bottom stays in the die longer than the top does. And that's how you end up with that fade. Got this Kaiser LP that I did with this sunburst kind of fade from the yellow orange to the darker orange red. Great stuff. This thing drops like a guillotine and it's light. Kaiser makes some cool stuff, but really enjoying doing the dyes, coming up with some interesting stuff, trying some varieties. This is die project number 40. 15 is still floating in limbo. Haven't had a chance to get it fixed yet. What am I getting? See this little spot right there? What is that? Yeah, I got a little backtrack. 15 was an issue. I'll be coming back to it eventually. 38, the chipmunk, the Vosteed chipmunk. I've got some ideas for it, so it'll be coming up soon. So I've been kind of bouncing around a little bit with the die project, but that's okay. You know, That's why I kind of like to do multiples. You kind of get some ideas, and then when the inspiration hits, you give it a go. I'm going to get this knife parts plate out of the way for a moment. Bring in our water. This is just plain water. What happens is when you take them out of the dye is kind of just everywhere and it can drip. And when you go into the water will instantly neutralize it, and then those drips won't kind of create darker spots or anything like that, so you can kind of see where you're at. Because like right now, see how dark that is, right? Kind of chunky. We go in here, you rinse it off, and you get to see a little bit more true what that color is. I'm going to take these off the hooks. We might be done. So the dye does like to sit kind of on the piece a little bit, so I kind of go in here with the water and kind of just rub it around a little bit, try to make sure that that dye has come off. All right. Ooh, we are good. This is red. I like it. Very happy with this. That was great. That was exactly what I wanted. A nice darker kind of a red. And the brown did not seem to affect it. Like I said, is anywhere near as much as I thought it was going to. So we're going to go ahead and take these out of this water. I'm going to get it out of our world. We don't need it anymore. Holy cow, those look fantastic. I thought this kind of has a sports car kind of a look, especially with that little scoop in there. Tell me that's not pushing Ferrari red, huh? Nice dark Ferrari red. I dig it. I dig it. What are we at? 7 minutes here. We're styling. Don't jinx it, Kenman. You haven't put it back together yet. You never know what kind of craziness can start to happen when trying to put stuff back together. If you saw recently, bing right there, when I tried to turn that Gerber turd into some type of a gem. I'm trying to wipe up some dye that I spilled right here. It took some time putting it back together, but it was also a crossbar style, like compression lock. So I had some issues with that, putting it back together. I had to fast forward a little bit. So you never know when you're rebuilding what kind of things are going to come up. In this case, with this liner lock, there shouldn't be much problem. So I am not too worried about it. This is micarta, isn't it? Crap. I wasn't thinking about that, which is fine. But with micarta, I don't know why I was thinking these were G10. I wasn't thinking blah, 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 blah. Doesn't really matter. Long story short, micarta takes a lot longer to dry. So these, generally what I do with the dye, like with the G10, I would pat these dry and they would be pretty much dry. And then we can just instantly go to the assembly section. But I cannot do that. These are going to probably take 10-15 minutes. I'll put a fan on them or whatever. But it's going to take a little while for that to dry. And then actually the color will change a little because of the darkness. I don't know how much we'll notice. But I need to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right now and we're going to break for a second. And once they're dry, we'll be on the table for the reassembly. I'll see you at the table. Okay, I am happy. This is a good looking red. The camera makes it a little bit brighter red. If I try to put a shadow over it, a little bit duller. That's kind of more true to what I see. But I'm quite happy with it. Let's get it back together. Enjoy these dye projects. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. It helps me out and I really appreciate it. Okay, I have this kind of partially ready. This is just going to sit right there. The bearings have the open side toward the blade. The pivot goes, yep, there's a little notch right there. Oops, yeah, that's fine. And there's a little divot on the right, oh, and it all starts tumbling. Start trying to show you stuff, I should just do it. Okay, so that Kubey is going to line up perfectly so that notch sits in there. Get that pin back in there. And the bearing back down. Okay, this should go. Don't jinx it, Kenman. But this is a pretty simple setup versus that Gerber turd nightmare. Okay, look at that. Oops. And I'm going to try to get the pivot in here and started. But as I always say, when you put a knife back together, you have to be careful about centering the blade, getting it all lined up right, so I don't tighten everything down. I kind of get everything started and loosely going, and just pay attention as you put it back together, and it shouldn't be an issue. And if you don't get it quite right, you can loosen everything up and make some adjustments and get it nice and neat. Most of the time. Sometimes you get one that's just a little stubborn and it doesn't want to play nice. Okay, I am a lefty, so the pocket clip is going to go on this side. Right there. And the pocket clip is dropping to T6. Everything else on this particular knife is a T8. And why isn't that going in? There we go. This T6 doesn't like me. Okay. Why do you hate me so much? I got one more T8 on the other side to fill in that hole where the pocket clip was when it was on this side. Nice clean design. Okay, so all the screws are in, but not completely tight. So now I am going to see the blade is kicked way over there. I am going to tighten the pivot down all the way, but not so tight that it's ridiculous. Just basically till it's like solid. And that's going to kick it at least to center, if not a little that way. So then when we loosen it back to where we want it, it should be about centered. So I've got that. I didn't super torque on it, but I got her tight. Now I'm going to go back and evenly tighten all of these. I like to get them all almost snug and then go back and then do the final tighten just to kind of keep it even all the way around. Is it totally necessary? Maybe not. But you get into a habit. It's kind of like centering the blade. Oh, did I? Okay. That is not going in. You see that? Why is that happening? It's like it's not lined up right. I'm going to take this off. Of course, even a simple rebuild can cause issues. Why? When I did it, it was just pushing the scale away from the, it wasn't pulling it to the liner, it was like pushing it away from it. Strange. Alright, let's try this again. It's usually something you see when you're drilling something like into wood and you don't have like a pilot hole that you're going into. See, this looks like it did it again on that side. What is happening? Okay, well, This time that side went down good. Pocket clip, I like to go back and forth on the screws once, because once you get one really tight next to another one, it tends to relieve a little pressure on the other side. Okay, so we are still a little that way with the blade, so I should be able to loosen this just a smidge. And tighten it up a little bit now. Just make sure it's solid. Okay, that blade is solid. Let's get this stuff out of the world. Die project number 40 is complete. Is this the voice I'm going to have, or will it change? Oh, first fail. Okay, the action seems to be good. All right, look at what we have here. Only a little quick wipe down. Kubey Merced custom dark red. Thoughts? Comment below. How do you feel about the color? Let's get a nice tight close-up. Ooh. I like it. Seems like the action is good. That flick out is good. Thumb. Huh. I've hardly ever tried to do the thumb. That's weird. Did you see that? It just keeps scratching myself here. Huh. Well, it's funny because this is quite easy. The detent isn't quite strong enough. But to thumb it out, I can't do it. Get it in there. I'm just scratching my thumbnail. Whatever. I like this knife. I think it's cool. It's got a very, like I said, race car kind of a aerodynamic look. That's kind of why I went for that red. It's kind of darker red. So it's like I said, it is definitely darker in person than on this camera. Is kind of making it pop a little extra, which is cool. It's fine. Happy about it. Die Project 40 in the books. I still got the Chipmunk, which is like 38, and then 15, the Koyas way back there. Got to resurrect that one, get back to it. Have you watched any of the one on the Koyas? It was a madhouse, I tell you. I think I made 4 or 5 videos on it, and it's still not done. But that squirrel should be coming up soon. If you want to see part 1 of it, you could check it out up here. Kubey Merced in the books. Stay sharp. We'll see you soon.